on a final note,
Yes.
something caught my attention in the documentary.
Yes.
And that is the fact that most of the people you spoke to in the course of the documentary are females, majority of them, and it caught my attention. I was like, is it only female that go to primary health care? So was this a deliberate bias on the men or the male folks? So let me get you, because I need that clarification. You on air. So,
do you feel sidelined?
No, no, let's just...
You were not properly represented.
Let's solve that issue. Because in the documentary, we are only seeing only females. So let's get that out, please. Why just females?
So it was an unplanned coincidence. It was well unplanned. I think I did not even notice that until the post-production. I was like, wait, this is...
Because when I told you I've seen the documentary.
Yes.
Chimeli deliberately took out the male folks from the documentary. What did we do to her?
No. I did not do that on purpose. I think, so most of the people, all the primary healthcare centers we went to, even the ones that we didn't get to interview, had female employees,
including doctors.
Now the funny thing is, they were actually just it was just one place that had a doctor. That was Dr. Imelda. That was the only place. Every other place had a nurse or volunteers. So there were no, doctors, a lot of them. It was just Dr. Imelda that was there. So, and then I think we already know the way that our society, or rural society, looks at male nurses. So I think that might have played a part somehow, because I mean, you're a guy and you're going to study nursing in a rural, environment, and then you come out and you're working in a primary health care. They're looking at you like, are you sure you are in the right line of business? Talking about rural communities. So I think that played a huge part, and because of the fact that there were not a lot of doctors, I think that was... So don't worry, we did not sideline you.
Don't worry, I will talk to the men, I will talk to my colleagues, to Mel, please forgive her. She didn't do
please
it on
forgive
purpose.
me.
It wasn't on purpose. But we want to say thank you so much for coming to Signature TV.
Thank you very much.
We hope to see more reported, more documentaries out there, more impact-driven documentaries, just like the one you did, because that was something to go home with.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Well, this is how far we can go today. I want to say thank you for watching New Day today on Signature TV. Till I come your way again, same times. I am Godwin Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day.
in fuel pump price, which is very high. It's affecting the spending habits of citizens. It's making it very hard. If fuel subsidy is to be really introduced, I think it will make spending habits of consumers to be less. And the unit price of commodities will reduce because the transportation cost will reduce, which will make life easy for us to live.
It's really an issue that has been lingering for a very long time now. I remember coming down here to this venue today and I saw the queue in the NNPC filling station, and I feel that this is part of the reason why we're having the hike in prices of things, and something can be done. The NNPC can do something about this to make sure that fuel is readily available to every part of Nigeria.
Like now I'm doing business and I want to purchase something. I can't buy it normal price. The price will go higher, and at the end of the day, I cannot even get what to eat. I cannot see money to buy what I will eat with my baby. So it's really very hard for us to survive.
The issue is quite alarming and so disheartening because most of us have a lot of things to do. Like where you used to go to 200 is now 500. Where you used to, somebody that is an average worker, or maybe a sales girl that is being paid 30K. Imagine your transport fare every day. You might just, half of your money will be gone for just transportation. It doesn't only affect our transportation, it also affects our daily living. The thing used to, even biscuits, that one hurts me. I'm seriously saying it. Biscuit I used to buy 16 naira is now 120. And 150 on is now 300. Imagine students like us, how we are going to be surviving and how we are going to be managing ourselves. Some of us in school, they are the one catching for ourselves. So when you combine these two school activities and daily living, it's quite alarming.
To be honest, me, in school, I trek from the hostel to the gate because the transport fare was 17 naira, but now it is 150. So the increment is is so overwhelming that I prefer trekking. Like I rather trek than to spend 150 naira. It's a lot on transport, and the distance is actually so short compared to what it was before. So aside transportation, it has also affected the cost of feeding. Yes. Because if you want to, if you want to buy pepper now, pepper that was, let me say, 15 naira, it's just for 200 naira. Now I don't know what it is now. So both feeding, accommodation, because your agent will also add transportation to go check the building. And all this, like, it's numerous. It's even the school fees has increased. Our school fees has increased.
new day. And like we always like to say, with a new day comes new ideas, new opportunities, and of course, new possibilities. So if you've tried it out once and it did not work out, well, dust yourself off. Try again and again and again. Good morning and welcome to New Day on Signature TV. My name is Chigi Chiagorom, and of course with me is...
the Honorable Joshua. Sorry, I just had to. It's Joshua Ritogo, of course. Excited to be here always to do this with you guys. Wherever you are this morning, I know it's the weekend, so for most of us, we're at home. So if you're with your coffee, your pop, your custard for some of us, whatever it is that you are with, today is going to be an amazing day, and we're going to, take you all around what is happening all across the country, Nigeria.
All right, Honorable Joshua, thank you so very much.
He's going to stick.
I tell you, I'll not let it slide.
I like it.
All right, so we have important topical issues to discuss with you in the studio today, of course, to keep you informed and inspired. So don't go anywhere. Up next is newspaper headlines and review. See you very soon. I'm glad you could join us. This is still New Day on Signature TV, and don't forget to go on over to our social media platforms on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, like, comment, and of course share. So this is our Signature TV New Day review and headlines, where we bring you headlines of stories and news pieces that have been making the rounds on our national dailies. And first up is The Nation. Very quickly, Joshua, I think you should just take over at this point. The Nation and...
Well, just below the mass, we have war in PDP as Atiku Wike faction battles for control, with the rider NWC faction suspend acting chairman. I beg your pardon.
Okay, still on the riders concerning the war in PDP. Court bars NEC from sacking Damagum before December 2025, and Board of Trustees intervenes, urges peace, return to status quo. Party would emerge stronger from crisis, says Bala Mohammed.
And just below, we have APC to Amechi. Your call for protest irresponsible, says ex-minister Leach, dependent on state resources. You can find this on the page 4.
And two interesting news stories. Above the nation's mast, marketers can now lift fuel directly from Dangote refinery. Others coming from federal government. This will be found on page 4 of The Nation. And you can't withdraw from Kano's trial. Chief Judge tells Inyako with rider that says reject judge's refusal, I beg your pardon, rejects judge's refusal request, returns trial file.
And finally, on The Nation, we have Nigerian teenagers trafficked to Ghana end up as prostitutes and gangsters. You can find this on the page 11 of The Nation.
On the Saturday Times, two interesting news stories right above the mast. Nigerians are suffering reduced fuel and food prices coming from Senator Ndume as he urges Tinubu to do the needful. And VP Shetiba inaugurates National Road Safety Advisory Council and pledges safer roads.
Rights violation on the rise as NHRC receives 305,300 petitions in 1 month.
And on entertainment, how skit making became the new oil, coming from Baba de Baba.
PDP crisis first court stops Damagum and 1 year suspension, with the rider opposition caucus backs Yahari as acting chairman.
Reasons for my strained relationship with Sean, coming from Victoria.
Blessing CEO on war parts with Nike Nikeji, bless
That
him.
will actually be Nkechi.
Nkechi, thank you very much.
Okay, story of Zula Aka, 67-year-old Lebanese in trouble for sexploitation of underage Kano girls.
And moving over to The Guardian, just below the mask, we have Fate or Fraud. Troubling trend of divine merchandising of religious centers.
And just above the Guardian mask, there are three interesting stories. First will be echoes from Southwest APC caucus meeting in Lagos. On page 26, Makellan unveils Tales of the Makellan Volume 2 to mark 200th anniversary. And then Tinubu heads to Paris for key engagement.
And finally, on The Guardian, we have 5 more tactical errors Tinubu must hear. You can find this on the back page of The Guardian.
On Saturday Punch, on fuel price hike, Nigerians lament worsening hunger, soaring transport fare, with a writer that says transport fares rise by 100%, food prices soar.
I have never had 1 million naira balance in my account. This is coming from the BB9 winner Kelly Ray.
All right. I studied 9 foreign universities before starting Covenant, coming from Uyedepo.
Dangote directs purchase. Marketers demand working refineries.
All right. And on entertainment, profiting from pain, house kit makers promote discrimination against people with disabilities for online fortune.
And on a very troubling one, we have Nigeria has only 80 heart surgeons. Association President Itiuma.
That is pathetic.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Bandits heighten killing spree as military fails to capture Bello Truji.
Why I can't practice medicine in Nigeria again. Popular Canada-based physician Dr. Zhu.
Finally, on the Saturday Punch, 16 states carpet EFCC amid lingering 776 billion naira fraud cases.
And on the Saturday Tribune, we have Sokoto bandits hire fire village head in my local government, says council chairman.
In life without service to God, humanity is meaningless, coming from Archbishop Fape, with a writer that says, Iyaloja General of Ogun State, Owolana, buried.
PDP leader moved to save party, with the riders. Governors BOT says no fraction in party. NWC group sack each other. Court bars party from removing Damagum.
On hardship, Ndume asks Tinubu to do something before it is too late. Ryder says it is not good to test people's patience, on page 6.
Fuel scarcity looms. Ibeman warns, with the rider. Marketers can now buy petrol directly from local refineries, says federal government.
On page 28, APC attacks Amechi over hardship comments.
Why it is difficult for me to feed with, why is it difficult, I beg your pardon, why is it difficult for me to feed with 1,000 naira, says a 74-year-old beggar.
Moving over to Saturday Vanguard, Ajero reveals understanding with Tinubu with riders. We accepted 70,000 naira minimum wage for government not to increase fuel price. Petrol price deregulations, federal government jerks up landing costs for imported products. That will be found on page 6 of Saturday Vanguard.
This civil rule is no democracy. Nigerians bemoan impunity of presidents, governors. With the rider, recommend ways to check their excesses. You can find this on the page 10.
What may stop new CGN, Kekere Ekun, from surprising Nigerians, coming from Oshoma.
And just yesterday, Eagles dominate, score only once.
Okay, so congratulations.
Yes, I know, right?
Okay, and finally on the Saturday Vanguard, why boat mishaps will continue to happen in Nigeria, says experts.
Well, that's the much we can take on the newspaper headlines. We'll be moving over to the reviews. And in the studio with us is Chris Madika. Chris Madika is going to be joining us for this review this morning. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Joshua.
Good morning, Chris.
Chidi.
Good morning. I love your blue. It's a blue reference.
There's talking about
Blue
colors this morning.
has a thing to do with royalty.
I refuse to communicate or to add.
You say honorable.
Yes.
We don't
It came
talk-
from him.
I will add that to
Okay,
my
he claimed his
portfolio.
honor.
He said he was an
I'm
honorable.
surprised that in
I had to-
Nigeria
You still have people who are referred to themselves as honorable.
Honorable, yeah.
Well, I felt that was like a prestige position. Now I'm feeling like I should change it.
I'm feeling like I should interview.
Well,
you.
good
Why
luck.
do you feel
And
you are
don't go to the street and say
an
you're
honorable
honorable.
member?
Don't go to the street. It used to be.
Well, now, Chris, let's
If
move
you go to the street and say you are dishonorable, well, that's better.
Yeah.
People will want to understand that.
Of course, let's go to what's trending right now. I mean, PDP leaders move to save party. You can find this on the Saturday Tribune. With Riders as his governor's BOT says no faction in party.
I think the headline would have been PDP moved to disorganize their party. The PDP leaders has comfortably and systematically disorganized their party. So whatever they are doing now is fire brigade. I've described them as some people that you know what you're facing, you know what you're up to, and you are there pursuing shadows and left the substance. There's this proverb that says that any group of people that are just missing and are smiling, they're missing and they're smiling. He said they will just go into extinction. Obodo na-efu na amwamu. They had efu photo. You will go there, you will not see anybody again because that's how they will go in. Because people will not understand that they are going. And that's what has happened to PDP. Must they get to this level before they save the party? I'm sorry.
Do you think they can still save the party?
If they want to. The fact is that among them, why is who becomes the chairman more important to them than the life of a party that has the potential to be the next ruling party in Nigeria? That tells you their psyche.
Chris.
And then who is putting the fire? Most of them, I'm sorry to say, are paid the destroyers. They have destroyed themselves from within. And until they do what they did for, what's the man going to Nineveh?
Jonah.
Oh,
Okay.
And find out how they are going to do their, juggle the thing and now say, it's you that is setting all this confusion. I don't want to say setting fire. So that you won't say anything. Then they say, leave this party. So that if the heaven will fall, let it fall. Instead of just be smiling,
can we comfortably
suffering.
Say at this point that PDP is heading to the gallows and there's no redemption? Because what comes to my mind actually thinking about PDP is what happened with the gifts of Troy. The Trojan gifts. It seems that because you mentioned that it's happening from within. It's a different thing when you're besieged and someone is attacking you from the outside. When we talk about other parties and other, agents or agencies that are against the PDP or opposition. But now we're talking about enemies from within. I mean, how would PDP, survive this when you've passed the stage of being on the siege? You're now dealing with strongholds within the party structure.
I am from Anambra State.
Proudly.
I grew up in Anambra State, and I watch PDP as a party to watch in Anambra State. It's the same, not knowing themselves that I've met them. They systematically lost Anambra State for a long time, and they are still in doldrum. So the PDP in Anambra State is just for mention, because they have not gotten their standards there for a long time. And that's as it beginning to happen to them nationally. They've lost it though. They're still setting fire. And they're going to lose more. So what if the little you have, instead of fighting to grab more states, you are losing the ones you have? That's the leg Nama will take rich in Umaya. Let's go on. The idea is that if you want to redeem yourself, you need sacrifices, sincerity, and truth. You don't just what is happening to Nigeria is happening to them. All these political parties, I wonder. But the idea is that most of the times, when the ones at the center, people will be pointing fingers at them. If I am the political party at the center, and I find the opposition, likely opposition, strong oppositions, doing it. I will sponsor them. I will help them. Oh, you want? I've been looking for how to set you on fire, and now you went and bathed.
You said there's redemption for PDP. Let's look at
They can
PDP
redeem.
in River State, where one man is holding both APC.
I don't know.
PDP.
I don't know what you're talking about. We have a sitting governor who is a PDP man.
On paper
And he has
or in reality?
I was told he has a godfather who he fell out with. His godfather, he fell out with, is still PDP. The sitting governor is still PDP. And they have PDP River State, and they have PDP National Working Committee.
There are several, evidence to show that this man that we are talking about has performed a lot of anti-party, activities against the PDP.
So why is he still there?
That
so
is
when
the
you're
big
talking-
question. That is the big question.
Is it
you
that
now
they
see
can't?
what
Is
I'm
it
talking
that
about.
PDP can't do without Wiki? Because I don't know why we're saying this man, this man, this man. Is it
I
that
don't know.
PDP can't do without
You know,
Wiki?
what it
That,
is
that's
some
what I
sort
was
of,
saying. I was saying
mystery.
PDP is a party that have very strong, important people that have been in politics in Nigeria from their days of G34. They fought, brought out democracy, and took Nigeria to a certain point until the same internal crisis set in. And they begin to chop both sides and talk from both sides of their mouth. They lost Nigeria. And this is where they got into. Even at the point where they are talking about PDP, what killed your father? He says mushroom. What killed your father in Edo? Mushroom. What killed your father in some other states? Mushroom. Then what are you holding in your hand now? Mushroom. You think is redeemable? Until they drop the mushroom that is causing their systematic death. I have bad news for them.
Question is, are they willing to drop the mushroom?
Well, the choice is up to them. Will you force it? If they want to commit suicide, what they call political suicide, and go into extinction, it will be a record. One time, there used to be a party known as People's Democratic Party, PDP power. Some of
That
the
held
children
sway from 1999
To
to...
this time, and then it's gone now.
These are people, when they come out for campaign, they went to the studio and wax records, breakable records. You play, they have LPs, they have, when you come with campaign, beautiful melodious music, you know that the party, they organize and they really have intention and they're focused.
Chris, because of time, so finally on this PDP saga, do you think they have an opportunity in the 2027 election?
With what they're doing it?
Yes.
You also want me to, from my mouth, you hear, if they want opportunity, the opportunity is given. If they don't want it, let them go fight from River State to go to Osun, and they come back anywhere. They go on, fight, go Abuja, go from Damagun to Debaco.
I love that.
And then,
I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
And then when time is there, they will now start. I know where they're going to come and ask who they're going to ask to follow a sinking ship.
All right, let's get to Saturday Vanguard. So there's this caption that actually comes across to me as being a little bit misleading, but I don't know what you would think, Chris. Ajero reveals understanding with Tinubu, written boldly. We accepted 70,000 naira minimum wage for government not to increase fuel prices. And now, obviously, government has actually increased fuel prices. But does it actually show that Ajero, shows understanding with Tinubu, right? Because
the negotiation was lengthy.
Yes. And
the funniest thing that happened with that negotiation was that if it wasn't more decent society, it will be made open. They made secret deals, and now it's like Ajero's word against Tinubu.
But was there not a communique that was issued after the meeting?
All I know is that they've agreed on what we had. They all came, stood before camera, and all were smiling that they have reached an agreement. The government will pay 70,000 naira. It was all over the headlines. We reviewed it here. And we're even up to now. Only about 3 states I can remember that have agreed to pay out of 36 states and 1. Now, even at that, when even the state have not agreed to pay, the federal government has gone ahead, got us to a point where they are now saying, when it is more convenient for them, federal government will say it's NNPC. When it's not convenient, they will say federal government. It got us to this point where everybody has had to buy fuel in Nigeria at an average of 1,600 naira, and at a fee, a salary of 70,000 naira. That is not paid. Some people are still buying at low price. I think something is wrong with this nation. Because people are still, and I'm saying, if Nigeria is not robbing Nigerians, then Nigerians are robbing Nigeria. Something is wrong. For people to still be talking as we are talking, nothing has changed when it comes to income. To some people that are civil servants or workers. And we have had fuel at this price it is, and people are still moving around.
Yeah, something we don't
something
know.
Is wrong. Something is wrong. And I need to be led into it because from where I'm talking from, I can't continue. It's difficult for me, and I need help. So for those who can continue, good luck to them.
Chris, I have like 3 more minutes with you, and I want your reaction on this. 16 states carpet EFCC amid lingering 776 billion naira fraud case. You can find this on the Saturday Punch. I just want you to quickly react to this. I mean, 776.
Yesterday, we talked about that the ego has turned away ego eyes from the people who have. If there's in my place what they call the oath of 9 persons. The oath of 9 persons, if they say Joshua has committed an offense and it's so serious, they will come to the village square and say, Josh, bring 9 people from this community to stand behind you as you take this oath to say, to clear and tell the people that you are a good citizen of the community. If you can't raise 9 people to stand behind you, they call it the oath of 9 persons behind you. If EFCC and ICPC will look at Nigerians and tell them that they are sincere, they are accountable, and they are doing their job right, and they are not being bought, and they are not even father of the sleaze and graft they are fighting. If they come and do that, then we go back. Why are they carpeting? Who is carpeting them? If they are sure they are doing their job, why should anybody carpet them? I don't even understand what they mean. 16 states carpet them. So I don't know what it is. So these are the kind of things we're hearing, so that it looks like something is happening and we're going. What does that mean? Look at the amount of money involved. Is it that the EFCC, that money, that EFCC is their words against 16 states, that the 16 states are now saying EFCC is wrong? You know what that money means? This selective discharge of justice, selective discharge of who to arrest and who not to arrest, it's what kept, and then that means if you don't have who stand behind you, then you suspect. So God help us, God help Nigeria, and as we move on, the way we make our math, we lie on it.
Thank you very much, Chris. It's always an amazing time, an amazing session to have you here with us in the studio to discuss the various headlines. Of course, I would wish we had more time, we would have gone further. I mean, Nigeria having only just 30 heart surgeons. It's quite alarming for a country that is about 200 million.
80?
Just 80.
So for 210 million Nigerians, if you do the mathematics,
that's quite scary.
And another development to this is that medical professionals are slumping and they are dying due to the stress. We have 2 that we lost recently in a particular healthcare facility.
The slump and die also has affected.
One actually went for an exam and she died there.
So the doctors are now doctors in spite of themselves. That will tell you the extent of hardship. And if somebody says, Amaechi made comment, and the presidency has been attacking Amaechi.
Came for him, yeah.
That
Well,
you know, so
again,
so God help Nigeria.
We wish we had more
Amen.
time. You can go to all
Amen
of our
to that.
social media platform. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and we're live on YouTube. So you can go make your comments as well. We want to hear what you feel concerning what we're discussing. It's not just us in the studio talking. We want to hear your voice. We want to give voice to the voiceless that are out there. Moving over, we're going to be going to the retrospect for the week. And on Tuesday now, we had more women involvement in drug trafficking. We had Owunwa, forgive my pronunciation, was in the studio with us to have this discussion. Do take a listen.
Women involvement in drug trafficking, about 9 billion, what, I don't know. So I want to actually ask, what is happening? What's the new trend? How are you seeing the new trend? Is it that this is a new way, you know, for people to get out of hardship and hunger?
Thank you very much. I consider my being here not just a mere coincidence, but very timely. And I just want to say straight out that it's not necessary for us to start playing the ostrich and pretend it's not happening. It is terrible. And unfortunately, those things we hold very dear, women are custodians of our values, is grossly being eroded. And these days, we're getting more and more disturbing news of women overtaking men in the drug business. But I want to equally tell you that it did not start today. It's been a trend that we have not taken seriously. Unfortunately, in Edo and Delta, we do apologies to those affected. Most homes you go to, the families rally around and send their daughters abroad to go and sell drugs. Italy, Germany, the statistics are there. In fact, for those that have not been able to send their daughters to those countries, they are being attacked negatively of not keying into the investment. And you'll agree with me that this issue of codeine and tramadol, how was it discovered there was a problem? It was amongst a gathering of a prominent Kano politician that was having a get-together in his house. Then, of course, you know the women will gather somewhere. So while they were gathering and enjoying, phone was missing. So they said, no, they need to search for the phone. In the course of the search, the law enforcement people discovered that the women had large quantities of codeine and this cough syrup that it keeps them on, since they can't smoke or drink. So within themselves, they consume codeine, cough syrup with codeine. And they now looked at the statistics. It was brought to the house, the problem. And they now did a survey and discovered that daily, 2 million women in Kano take drugs, especially the codeine and tramadol. Then in Jigawa, every day, 1 million women, as it is, as I'm talking with you. Is that not disturbing? It's disturbing.
But I'm stunned by these revelations that you're putting.
You have to. You should.
What does it help them do? And secondly, I just wanted to find out again, because maybe I missed that particular line you said. This was how tramadol and syrup was found out to be prevalent amongst youths in the north. Is it a recent amongst women? Is it a recent happening? When was this?
That was 2008.
2008.
2008 is 2018.
Sorry.
2018.
2018.
This was how NDLA found out that women take these drugs?
This is how the whole society of Nigeria found out. Not only NDLA. But we took it a step further and started, first of all, by pursuing legislation for it to be a controlled substance when we knew it was actually a problem. And it was substance subject to high abuse and intoxication.
And that was Umumwa talking about women involvement in drug trafficking. Joshua, just a quick one.
Yes.
Why would you think women are getting more involved in drug trafficking? Is there a pressure on the women to make it just the same way it is on the men to make it? So why would
I think
that trend be a thing, you know?
I think it has always been there. It has not just been given much attention like as men. And then respectfully to all men out there, I feel like women are more careful and more smarter in having to keep these things than men.
Well, it is what it is. I just feel women are often overlooked because
that's what I'm saying. And then they are more smarter in how to, keep all these things. You won't think about it.
So still on Tuesday, we still talked about the impact of smart green schools in Enugu State education, and we had Ndubueze Mba, the Commissioner for Education, come in and talk to us about it. Do take a listen.
So we're talking.
Okay, all right, you're welcome. So we're talking about green smart schools. Smart green schools? What are smart green schools to start with?
So the Enugu smart green schools, they're unique. They are the only smart green schools. They're the pioneer smart green schools in Africa. They're a product of the vision of our governor, the governor of Enugu State, Barrister Tandubi Simba. There has been ideas about smart schools percolating in Africa, in Nigeria. We know that the Nigerian government had a smart school project across the country. We have one in Enugu that never materialized. So the idea of smart school, generally, as people think about it, is that you have a reliance on technologies, modern technologies, to improve teaching and learning and prepare children with 21st century skills, inculcating them digital literacy and competency. So that is a generic idea of smart school. But the Enugu Smart Green Schools are much more than that. They are part of a huge strategy to turn around the human capital of Enugu people to achieve in 4 to 8 years what it might take a generation to ordinarily achieve. I know I'm starting this way because the Smart Grade School is about, for the one in Enugu, is focused on experiential learning. Now, experiential learning is about changing the way that teaching is done by teachers and changing the way that learning is achieved by students. It's about moving from traditional lecture pedagogy and rote learning to a practice-based learning system. Now, in that, so you learn through experience, through practice. And as a teacher, you design projects so that your children can learn through practice. So that's a basic principle, right? Now, technology, of course, is part of that, right? Technology becomes part of that. You want your children not to draw a computer, but to actually use computers every day to learn. You want your teachers not to explain computer to children, but to use it to teach them. and not just using those computers to develop the tactile skills and motor skills of using a keyboard, but they become a window into a world of knowledge that from ENUGU, our children can connect to learning resources around the world. They can access Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford, but they can connect with peers. They can drop into classrooms in sister colleges and schools. They can have a professor of mechatronics, a basic teacher of robotics, drop into their classroom and engage them. They can work in the Tomorrow is Here Innovation Studio on coding, on using Arduino kits to build lift gates and smart home models. And they do that with their teachers. They can go into our lab, science lab, where you have our biology, chemistry, physics lab, and they can work on projects and build things. They can go to the smart farm and observe photosynthesis. They can take different seedlings, combine them to produce new species and watch it over time. They can have a smart farm that they have helped to set up. And right now, you know, for example, they have 60 crates of eggs from their farm that supplements their school feeding program. They can look at a situation where they have drilled a borehole. The state government has drilled a borehole, but they're not getting enough water. And so they go to their library and they research water solutions. And they identify a Canadian-based firm, write them a proposal, and the firm actually comes from Canada to Owo, test the water sample that the students have sent from Owo to New York and to Canada, and because of that come to Owo and work with the students to come up with a water purification solution for the school. And now the children use that water purification solution as every day. That's how they get their filtered water. So experiential learning, I know I started with real examples of what we're actually doing. So it's not like theory or hypothesis.
Absolutely.
We've done this for a year, and our children are doing this, our teachers are doing this. So experiential learning is designing a system of teaching, a system of education that empowers our children to become problem solvers, to start seeing themselves as solutions to community problems, to societal problems, and enabling them with the skill to be that solution, and helping them to understand that the problems that are solving are not just unique to their own environment. They're part of global problems that are tied to the Sustainable Development Goals. So they're not learning the SDGs as theory. They're learning it by understanding how their own unique problems are part of a global problem. When they are solving a water problem, they know that it's part of sustainable environments, which is an SDG goal.
Very good idea, but I am sure Chigi has a different perspective on this. So Chigi,
Oh my goodness, are you trying to pin me against the government?
No, how dear me. Not at all, far from it.
But seriously, though, I have this just tiny little issue.
Of course, let me hear
are we building new smart schools to augment the public schools? Okay, why not build infrastructure and upgrade the public schools to become smart? And then if we don't have enough smart public schools, then you can now build more new smart schools to augment, to make sure that, you know, it gets across, you know, the entire local government, 17 local government areas in ENUGU. But hey,
but then again,
I'm sure they know what they are doing.
Let me try and say, maybe in their defense, they're just saying that it's much more expensive to, you know, rebuild what they already have. So it's just easier to, you know, just start afresh.
But then on the flip side,
yes,
these public primary schools are already established. It's easier for sustainability purposes, even for scalability purposes, because they are assets on ground, right? But
well,
I'm sure the experts know what they are doing.
This statement is just well, of course, you can go to all of our social media platforms. You can find this interview there on YouTube and Facebook. You can watch again. You can make your own comments. We want to hear what you had to say. And on Wednesday, we discussed control of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria. We had Major General Okechukwu Ugo, retired, come into the studio to have this discussion with us. Do take a listen.
discussing curbing the proliferation of small arms in Southeast and the challenges and strategies. So we have a guest right here in the studio, retired Major General ENUGU, Southeast Zonal Coordinator, National Center for Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons. Welcome, comrade. Major General.
Thank you, Belinda.
Okay,
Yes.
so talking about proliferation and all of that. So, what is the current, state of small arms and small arms proliferation in Southeast right now?
Well, thank you for having me in your show this morning, and good morning, viewers. I want to start by telling you that the issue of proliferation of small arms and light weapons is a very serious matter, not just in the southeast of Nigeria, but globally. As you may know, the world had the unfortunate experience of going through 2 world wars in the last century, World War I, World War II, and after that we had the Cold War. All these necessitated or made the production of small arms and light weapons very necessary for the, to cope or to execute these wars. And after the wars, these arms were flying all over, and this in fact led to the establishment of the United Nations, and they proclaimed that there was need to stop wars around the country. And how do you stop wars? Is to stop the proliferation of small arms and light weapons, which were enablers for people to execute these wars. And the UN set up protocols, what they call the United Nations Program of Action. We have the Arms Treaty, you have the International Tracking System, all aimed at minimizing the illicit movement of arms around the globe. In the African level, the African Union has also stepped in to play their part. We have what we call the Nairobi Declaration of 2006, where the African Union came up with a program to regulate this movement of arms in Africa. Coming down to West Africa, the same thing. ECOWAS has also stepped in at their level, and there's what we call the ECOWAS Convention on small arms and light weapons, where all the 15 member states of ECOWAS are mandated to set up commissions or centers to collaborate and cooperate with a view to regulating the movement of arms around the sub-region. And so that's why we're here today. Over the years, efforts have been made in line with the ECOWAS Convention I mentioned to have this center up and running. During the Obasanjo regime, we had what we call the NATCOM, that's the National Commission that was mandated to execute this task, but it didn't go very effectively well. And then in the Goodluck Jonathan administration, we had the Presidential Committee that was also set up to go on and do this task. That committee met randomly because as a committee, it wasn't really an organized center. So all they were doing was to meet from time to time to discuss issues about this this scourge of proliferation of small arms and light weapons. The committee too wasn't efficient enough because one, they didn't have the backing of the National Assembly. There was no law, guiding their job. And this led to, in the year 2021, under the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, in May, exactly on the 3rd of May, 2021, the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons was officially set up by presidential order. Following that order, a bill was sent to the National Assembly, and the House of Reps and the Senate, they discussed it, and there was concurrence. The bill was passed, and then luckily, and we must commend the president of today, that's President Tinubu, who has signed into law the bill. So we have an act today that is legally authorizing us to do what we're supposed to do. And so the center has come to stay and to do its job, and we're doing it.
So what are the root causes? Let's talk about the root causes. What do you identify as the drivers of arms proliferation in this region?
Yeah, of course, because of the urge, or people generally may not trust the government to protect them enough. So there's this urge by individuals to go procuring arms illegally for self-defense. But this is wrong, because basically the operation of arms, you require a lot of training to be able to operate arms properly. You may think you're helping yourself by acquiring the arm for your immediate defense, but in the long run, what you think is for your own defense might become a problem to you and your family, because if you're not able to handle it properly, there's what we call, it may be you in the Nigerian Defense Academy when we're trained. If you have an arm and you don't handle it well, it becomes a problem to you and your neighbors, So, and that's why we're saying that people who are not trained to have these arms should not have them. So, to answer your question, people who want to get rich quick, who want to go against the law, if you have grievances, there are laid down ways of, approaching your grievances. You have elected people in the National Assembly, you have governors, you have all kinds of architecture to, vent your anger instead of you taking laws into your hand. So basically, people who want to get what does not belong to them, first of all, like armed robbers, like you see kidnapping, you see ransom taking, all of them are looking for arms for all these illicit jobs and criminality that they do.
PDP crisis skirmishes with the just concluded local government and gubernatorial elections across Nigeria. Chief Peter Ame is the National Secretary Conference for United Political Parties, COP for short. Good morning, Chief Peter. Can you hear us? Good morning. Can you unmute yourself?
I'm not mute. It's on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good morning. Given the recent developments from the past elections, be it gubernatorial, be it local government, can you give us a general assessment of your view concerning the just concluded elections, in Nigeria?
Let me start from Edo. Edo is a total sham. Edo was an embarrassment. Edo is not something that we should discuss in our electoral history. It is a total hijack of the will of the people, and an attempt by the APC and INEC to try all they can to weaken this multi-party democracy that we practice. And this will be detrimental to the growth and development of our democracy, because the visionaries and the vision behind multi-party democracy is to give people choice, to give the citizens the right to determine their own future through whatever party they so desire to apply their vote for. So it is embarrassing to see that those who have not hijacked state power are now acting like if there's a state capture. And it is especially to see that state actors are not acting with the necessary level of impartiality that is expected of them. When you find out that people who are contesting start to accuse the Nigerian police, start to accuse the security agencies of bias, then it goes to show that there's an interplay of forces between the ruling party and their branch of their political party to continue to undermine our democratic system. Before they came into power in 2019, let me tell you clear, open and clear, that the PDP who were in control at the end of affair at the time, allow for the flourishing of political party, allow for multi-party participation, even allow for political party registration. Since the APC came in, since 2019, they have not even allowed Nigerians to associate, as enshrined in section 39, 40, and 41, that people are free to have their voice, people are free to belong to a political party and association where their freedom, where their right and interest can be respected. You can't micromanage a political system because it's about people's right to determine their own future. So what the elections have shown so far is that there's a manipulation somewhere. People are colluding to deprive our people of their choice. People are colluding to make sure that this democracy does not have the necessary ingredient that determines it and gives it that name, democracy. We are in a problem, and we must speak to the APC, and we must speak to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to try to adjure, to relax, and see that if you perform in government, if you work hard in government, getting re-elected is not a problem. We are looking at now that BIPAS and RF have been totally jettisoned. It is no longer relevant in our electoral system because of the manipulation that takes place at the collation center. The collation center has now returned back to the status it was pre-2011 general elections. So we cannot allow this to continue. Because if people win election, I want to tell people, if you freely win election, the people will rejoice. When you see sadness on the street after electoral results have been declared, you know that there's a manipulation somewhere. And apart from this, there are facts and figures and documents that have been shown to see that these elections were manipulated to favor one party over the other. What we speak for is the entrenchment of multi-party democracy in Nigeria. And because without that, we will be heading towards a one-party dominant state. And that will be so disastrous for freedom of speech, for freedom of expression, for freedom of association, and for freedom of movement. Because when the party becomes so dominant, there's a tendency that their tendency exists that they will misapply, mismanage the rights of the citizens. So our elections is a far cry for what a democratic electoral system should be. It's a far cry from it. And we're asking that INEC should be further strengthened, INEC should be unbundled, INEC should be made to focus only on conduct of elections in Nigeria,
and the participation of politicians in the commission should be reduced drastically. We must find an alternative law or a way to make sure that those who have had appointment to other politics, like the National Electoral Commissioner for Edo State, served in a political party arranged. It was an special advisor on land and survey. When people become special advisors, special assistants, and commissioners, they have dove into the area of politics, and this is not good for our democratic system. There are a lot of people who have met, who have talked to, from CDD to PLAG, from PLAG to YAGA to Center for Democracy. All these people have been participating in the management of our democratic system in a civic way by acting as observer, as acting as those who carry out certain investigation outside the purview of the commission. These are people that I feel are more qualified, who are not politicians, who are not partisan, who don't have an inclination to any political party, who should be managing our electoral processes. Because you are seeing that the commissioners, the national commissioners and resident electoral commissioners are now coming from the angle of politicians. So this is something we should discourage, because our election is a far cry from what a democratic election should be.
Chief, just to buttress on what you've said, of course, we know that the INEC, we've seen cases where people no longer trust the system of INEC. Now, my question is, what is the measure we can use to make that reform happen in INEC? What are the things we need to do? Who are the people we need to put in place to make that reform in INEC to make these changes? Chief Peter. Okay, we'll be coming back to Chief Peter in a short while, but then again, this is still something that bothers me. I know we'll talk about reforms, and then we want reform to happen, but
commissioners, NJC,
Chief, okay.
NJC have not even been able to look at the issues of judges that are manipulating and giving ex parte order to conclude the whole of a judgment. So what we are saying is that if you have a multi-party democracy, like in Ghana, the IPAC is responsible to also follow them to look at how these ballot boxes are printed, where it to be apportioned and where it to be distributed. We should look at one. There's this tendency that the distribution of materials on the election date is now being influenced because of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, who will now start to give reason in the morning that it will not work, it will not do that. So we should consolidate all our elections to one day and go away with this staggered election, because staggered election is very easy to manipulate. It's very easy to suppress the will of the people, because everybody who are now jobless at the time, Akpabio and all of them, they will go to the state and then suppress the will of the people. So we must do away with staggered election, consolidate all our elections to be conducted in one day, and then save the money that will be used to duplicate other elections. Save that money and buy vehicles in each of these states so that we can have control over the distribution of our electoral material, because this strong arm approach that the National Union of Road Transport Workers will be influenced so that they don't take materials to the stronghold of the opposition should be jettisoned immediately. And then two, we must unbundle the commission. It has been said in Justice Iwe's electoral reform panel that the commission is overburdened, the commission is carrying a lot of weight. The commission is responsible for the nation, is responsible for registration of political party, is responsible for management of political party, responsible for supervising convention, primaries, and congress of political party. The commission is also responsible for registered voters. The commission is responsible for so many things. And that I feel it is not the work of the National Independent Electoral Commission to do all this. In Sierra Leone and other places where these practices have been well defined, you have other agencies like the National Political Party Registration Commission, which will be responsible to manage political party, register political party, supervise their primaries and report. Then you have INEC, which will now be responsible for conduct of election, only election. There's no other work. Then you have electoral offences commission, where those who come out committing offenses are tried on the basis of whatever evidence that has been provided from the field. And two, we must remove what they call nulli prosequi. Nulli prosequi is that power that is given to Attorney Generals of the state and Attorney General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. While you find out that electoral offenses are not being tried, if you win a governor today, because the crime was committed in that state, the Attorney General can write to the court and say that the state does not want to continue with that trial. So we must remove that and then create a system where the appointment of INEC national commissioners and the INEC chairman himself, it is not buried in the hands of the president alone. It must be done in coalition with the opposition political party and parties that are not in government and those in government. We must sit down, review the list of the appointment so that all parties can have involvement on who is appointed to conduct an election that will be fair, free, and fair. Because you can't have somebody who will be appointed by a person and say that person should not be beholden to the person. And we have done our best to try to free and put INEC on the first line charge on how they get their money to supervise election. So there are a lot of reforms that we must do. And these reforms are very important if we must have a free, fair, and credible processes.
All right, thank you, Chief Ahmed. So in your earlier submission, you mentioned that there are people who are conniving and actively trying to bring down and sabotage our democracy. So my question will be, are these actors internal players from within the rank and file of the PDP, or are there external players probably coming from opposition who are bent on sabotaging PDP and, of course, our electoral processes?
There are people in the PDP who are also sabotaging the PDP, who are claiming to be members of the PDP. Like Wike, for instance, there's no way it's done. When the party never nominated you to be a participating minister in the government of the day, and you are there, and then there have been public statements that say you will do whatever it takes to get ENUGU elected in 2027. So what happens to the interest of members that who subscribe to the principles and ideals of PDP? What happens to them? That means you are saying that this sabotage is coming from within, and the APC is aware of what they are doing. What was not done to them, they register a political party. They formed they merged a political party under the ruling government at the time. So it is bad that they are now playing all the parties in the opposition and weakening the processes. We must know that in the event that the PDP loses its potency, loses its authority to function, loses authority to question government of the day, it will affect the general public, it will affect the growth and development of our democratic space, it will affect the promotion of values, because you can't have a system where every time there's a decision, there's a judge that will always bring an ex parte order. The ex parte order that was brought in the case of Damagu today, let me tell you one thing, that ex parte order said that nobody can remove Damagu on Ilia Damagu until 2025 December. That means the issues that were brought before the court had not been discussed, and then an ex parte order had already decided the whole issues before you go into the rift of the matter. So these are the situations that we are saying that the NJC is not proactive enough. NJC is not looking at these issues properly so that we can investigate the situation on ground. That means this country belongs to us all. If we stop talking because we are comfortable and we live in our comfort zone, and because we felt we can take care of our abuse, then I'm telling you, I'm speaking for my own children. Because my children must be able to enjoy what I've enjoyed in the multi-party democratic system as enshrined in our constitution in section 223 to 229. So this defense for our system must be sure. You can't have people who have divided the PDP and saying they are one side and the other side. And I also blame leaders in the PDP who are not courageous enough. Whether they are not courageous enough or they have allowed their interest to overtake their personal interest to overtake the collective good of the people. Because why not see people talk about, oh, PDP, I'm not a member, Labour Party, no, that's not the issue. The issue is that the voice that the Constitution creates to checkmate the government in power is being weakened. It's been subdued by all means possible through the instrumentality of whether the judiciary, whether the state actors like the police and others. So we must speak, because the survival of multi-party democracy system, either in the PDP, the Labour Party, the NNPP, is critical to the survival of this fourth republic. And the people must defend that and stand and speak the truth. Because this internal body game being played in the PDP and the level of ex parte order that easily come for these reasons. So it does not allow dialogue. It doesn't even allow consultation. It doesn't even allow deliberation in a political party again. Political party was supposed to be where ideas are thrown at you, you return yours, you discuss it, and you evaluate the issues, and then you arrive at a logical conclusion. Whether you judge in all forms and all manner, whether from Kotokoto members, the state chapters in Brunei, the state chapters in Lagos, the state chapters in Sokoto. These are the way political party is formed, without proper approach to this system. And then every time that this level of dialogue, this level of consultation, this level of deliberation is coming, you see an unexpected order that stop that. So without this discussion being placed, without these agitations being properly entrenched in party management system, then we no longer have a party. We no longer have parties to respect, because parties are supposed to be a ground for policy, a ground for development of ideas. And so if people can discuss, if people can have a little bit of scopus and have a little bit of dialogue, then what is it? Then when a man just says something, oh, boom, there's an unexpected order on the table from the court. So our court should be very careful and should look at the interest of the future of our democracy when they are arriving at certain decisions, because these decisions is not expanding the scope of participation, and participation is key when it comes to democracy.
Thank you very much, Chief. Finally, before I allow you go, of course, 2027 is in view. The presidential election 2027 is in view, and then a lot of people are questioning, and a lot of people are worried about what's going on in PDP. Now, my question is this. Do you think that with everything happening in PDP right now, do you think they have a chance in the 2027 presidential election? In just a few minutes.
That question has a two-headed sword, because I belong to the Labour Party. So the issue is that the opposition must unite. The opposition must work very strong. There's nobody that cannot be defeated. The Tinubu can be defeated hands down any day, any time. Tinubu can be removed from power and can be defeated through the ballot of the vote if the opposition is organized, if they put their solutions to the economic woes, the pain that people are going through, to the inability of the president to take very responsible decisions, to the defective, impulsive, and irrational decision of President President Tinubu, who has made Nigerians to be living in pain today. And that decision is based on the fact that there should not be external interference from the government. There should not be external interference from the court system. They should allow parties to organically sit down, discuss their issues, and come to a reasonable solution. But I do not see what is impossible for 2027. It was possible in 2015, and it is possible today, even in 2027. So it is, but all we need to do is for courageous men who are determined to save our nation, who are determined to salvage what is left of our democracy, who are determined to make sure that the people have a voice and have control over their electoral processes, to stand up and speak and move around and mobilize and speak to Nigerians. Nigerians are already too much in pain, and I believe they will listen to the solution, whatever solution that is brought before them.
All right, thank you so much, Chief Ame, for your wonderful insights on this matter. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, PDP once a giant in the political landscape of Nigeria, nearing, the brinks of extinction. We just sit here and see how things unfold, and of course, bring you information as things unfold. Don't go anywhere. After this short break, we are going to continue on New Day. Please stay with us.
Since 1960, when we got independence, under the leadership of Zik and Awolowo, Sardauna of Sokoto, Tafawa Balewa, things were in order. I was a very young person that time. Independence was something that we celebrated in a very big way during that time. After some years, we went to the military regime. Are you getting the point? Yes. There things begin to wobble from one year to another, the rest of it all. Since then, I don't think there is any improvement. Yes, there is no improvement. Yeah, we enjoy. At least after 10 years of independence, or if not 20 years, since then, nothing has changed. Nothing. We have not even, in fact, we are not be able to get, say we are now Nigerians that got independence, 1st of October, 1960. Nothing to show for it. Nothing practically to show for it. Hunger, poverty, sickness. Hospitals, no drugs. Talk about electricity, that one is 0/100. Are you getting the point? Potable water to drink is out of the game. Look at the oil subsidy that they removed. See where he plunged Nigerians into. No food, nothing. You hold 10,000 naira, you only buy have penta or gari. Where are we? We say that we are the giant of Africa. Where is the giant of Africa? Where we don't have anything to show for it. Our economy in Shabo is finished, it's dried.
For me, I'm not feeling anything for the celebration because Nigeria is really, really messed up as it stands now. There is nothing good in Nigeria, especially in the leadership system. Everything is falling. Look at the fuel price and the commodities in the market is very expensive. Celebrating, what's there to celebrate Nigeria independence when the poor masses can barely afford or to meet up their ends living? So for me, the 64th independence Nigeria is celebrating is nothing to write home about. I'm not feeling excited because the country is already messed up already.
Nobody is enjoying the country anymore. The politicians, they are not after the poor masses. They are just enjoying doing their thing, only them alone. Even us boys now, we don't have work, no work in the streets. How will you? I don't have much to tell you about Nigeria anymore because I'm tired of Nigeria to be a Nigerian self.
We have a lot of issues about the economy in the country, and I don't see it befitting, to celebrate Independence Day. Because they're talking about the light issue. I think that they promised to exist at 24 hours light, but definitely we are not seeing it at all. Okay, like in my era right now, we don't have light. So we kind of we plead, so that they will kind of treat the masses well, and we should have good government in this country. Because apart, like what I've seen in the past years until now, we have been suffering a lot, So I want the government to really improve.
A man that is up to 64 years. No, I'm not up to 64. I'm not even up to 60. But I know if I am a man and I'm getting to 64 or being 64, I must have achieved a lot. Because from that 64, I will be, by now I have started preparing myself because I will achieve a lot. But Nigeria, honestly, telling you, I cannot say that I'm proud of what is going on now in Nigeria. By now.
With rapid urbanization across Nigeria, governments are trying to put measures in place to ensure improved sanitation, increased public health outcomes for her citizens, and of course, improved environmental sustainability. Well, our guest, Mark Ademi Adebayo, is joining us via Zoom to discuss latest developments in urban wash reform in Nigeria. Mr. Adebayo is an urban water, sanitation, and hygiene specialist. Good morning, Mr. Mark Ademi. Can you hear us?
Kindly unmute your mic, please.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, beautiful. We can hear you.
Loud and clear. All right, Mr. Ademi, thank you for joining us. We would actually like to know, because our guests, you have been introduced as a wash specialist, and we are curious to know what exactly is wash and why is it important in Nigeria at this time?
Thank you so much. WASH is basically water, sanitation, and hygiene. And it's talking about water resource, water supply, water use, sanitation, and then, of course, hygiene. And it's calibrated in Nigeria for urban, small town, and rural water supply. Of course, there's this popular saying that water is life. So we know that you can do without so many things, but you can't do without water. And so it has to come in the right quality because you have to drink it. And if you drink water without quality, then you are risking waterborne diseases that can also kill so fast. Recently, I was watching your newspaper review, I think about 2 or 3 days ago, and you're talking about cholera in some states, some that has massive population, and we are recording deaths already. Most of those diseases are waterborne diseases. So, and when you talk about sanitation too, you're talking about dealing with your feces, issues of personal hygiene too, and which has direct impact on the health of citizens. And it is a major development index. SDG Goal 6 addresses the issue of water, access to water, sanitation, and hygiene. So if you want to live quality life, then you need to pay attention to the quality and the quantity of water available to you to drink, for cooking, for home chores, and for the environment. And it has to be sustainable over your lifetime. As long as there's mankind, and then there must be water, and there must be sufficient quantities. And when you cross to resources, you're also talking about water for other uses. But basically, we are probably interested in having water to drink and to take care of your own front.
All right, Mark, thank you. But I'd like to ask, what are the what are the major challenges that WASH has been facing over the years, and what are the how can I put it now? What are the possible things that the government has done to help curb these things, or even the people, the populations, the human beings who stay around the environment? How have they helped? What are your major challenges? Has the government been of help, and has the people been of help as well?
Of course, you can't separate the situation in the water sector from the situation in the country. There's this saying that water everywhere, and then none to drink. Over the years, the government has tried as much as possible to put in place infrastructure, uh, and then you have about 37 water utilities in Nigeria. That's plus Abuja. You have rural water agencies. Some places you have small water agencies with staff that draw salary from government with the mandate of providing water to the people on the government side. But then when you get to most of those institutions, you find out that they are not functioning, even though they draw salaries on a daily basis. And when you talk to them, they complain about lack of funds to put the infrastructure in place. But of course, it goes beyond that, even in places where development partners have intervened, and they've been intervening over the years, the USAID, the World Bank, the European Union, JICA, that's Japanese, water aid, they've been there bringing billions of dollars into the sector. And at the end of the day, even when there is infrastructure, they still find it difficult to sustain the operations of those infrastructure. So when you go all over the country, you see moribund water treatment plants of massive capacity, and you see thousands of kilometers of pipe network, ductile iron, UPVC, HDP, and all of them have not carried water for up to between 5 and 15 years. And some of them have been destroyed by road construction. So those are real big challenges that has affected public water supply. But when you look at the development over time, people must always look for water. You say water will always find its cause, but people will always find their source. So even when the government is not forthcoming, the people have gone into digging boreholes, which is also a dangerous trend, but then people must just drink water, whatever it takes. So people are punching holes, upon the earth crust in Nigeria, and that does not happen in that level anywhere in the world except Nigeria, where almost everybody is punching holes and getting water from their boreholes. And then, of course, you have this sachet water all over the place. Yes, that has rescued Nigeria. There was a year I called sachet water, which we popularly call pure water, as the Nigerian man of the year. Because if not for sachet water, people would have drinking water. So everywhere, nook and cranny villages, you find sachet water. But then there are quality issues. So because of the breakdown in public water supply, the individual has taken up the gauntlet. And then so you find those sources from individual efforts, private efforts, just to make sure that we continue to have water to drink.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Adedayo, I beg your pardon. So I wanted to ask you this very direct question. What is WASH's framework in ensuring that every household in Nigeria gets safe drinking water? And it's very interesting you mentioned moribund water agencies. Now, does WASH have an oversight function over those infrastructure or probably agencies, water agencies? What exactly is WASH doing to ensure that there is safe drinking water in every home in Nigeria? Because, of course, W in your acronym stands for water. When you talk about sanitation and hygiene, you can't do those without water. So what is the framework to ensuring that Nigerians across board get, clean, safe water?
Okay, thank you. If you're talking about WASH, it's like an acronym for that particular undertaking. But then if you're talking about framework, you talk about policies, you talk about laws, and you talk about the governance structure, you talk about institutions. At the federal level, you have the Federal Ministry of Water Resources, that is the overall coordinating ministry, in the country. But then the major responsibility for water supply and sanitation is vested in the states, even though the federal government provides support, provides investment, puts investment in river basins, and sometimes also come for direct intervention. So you have a federal government, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, you have a state Ministry of Water Resources or Ministry of Environment, as the case may be. And then, of course, you have water utilities. The water utilities, which people sometimes we call them water corporation, are supposed to provide service for the urban population, and then at times small town. But there are some states that have created small town agencies to take care of small town, which is population between 5,000 and 20,000 persons. And then you have the rural water agency that deals with provision of water at the rural water level. In terms of engagement, I need to be different. In the urban area, you expect the utilities to operate, under cost recovery principles, so that they can charge tariff and get money to support this process. And then you now have partners like development partners, where a chunk of fund has come from, and they've intervened at different levels, intervene at governance level, intervene at financing level, intervene at organizational structure level, which has been going on for many years under different reform programs and packages. So these efforts, these institutions are there with their mandates. But are we getting the desired result? No, I don't think so.
All right, thank you. But very quickly, Mr. Adedayo, I would actually want to know, because you are a WASH specialist, you probably belong to an association of some sort, or a group or an agency of some sort. So do you provide any form of recommendation to the government? Because in your earlier submission, you mentioned that our water agencies, most of them are moribund and comatose. So do you in any form, shape at all, provide recommendations to the government to ensure that something is done about our water systems and supply?
Yes, definitely. I'm a member of the Water Supply Association of Nigeria, and there are other associations, even the Water Engineers Association, and of course we also have Niger Professional Forum, where top professionals come together to discuss the issue of water supply and sanitation and hygiene. But more importantly, between me and a lot of my colleagues, we've been part of this process for quite some time. Some of those interventions, we've taken leadership roles at different points and at time. And maybe you just permit me to tell stories, because when you're over 25 years in a sector, you probably want to just tell stories, because there's so much that has happened in the system. So strategic advice, yes. Technical support, yes. Contribution to the policies, to the laws, yes. Contribution to standard operating procedures, manuals, yes. Embeddedness in the system, working with them on a daily basis just to turn things around, yes. Working with government, talking to the people at the highest level of government, absolutely, yes. I remember a state, I won't mention the name, there was an incoming governor, and I was about to exit the state from a project, a USAID project. So I sought a meeting with the governor, and I gave him a blueprint on how to run the system. We had some arguments, and I told him, this is the way to go, but Mr. Governor, I'm leaving your state. And after some time, the guy just went the other direction, dissolved the water corporation, scattered the whole place. And he did fantastically. It was fantastic in some area, other aspects. But I heard he said that if it is only on water that I failed, that's okay. At least I passed in other areas. So it's not as if they are bereft of templates, of roadmaps. Some of these roadmaps, we work it together. I was a member of a national action plan for revitalization of water. It was a federal government and state government supported by World Bank. We brought all the states together, their commissioners, and we had retreats. And we had this 5-6 point agenda that this is the way to go to rescue the water sector. And everybody agreed. We had our MOUs and all that, and everybody said we're going back to our state, declare the state of emergency, and begin to pay more attention, increase investment by by 300%. If you can bring private sector, and all that. Look at your policies and your laws, bring in monitoring and evaluation framework. Let's make sure that we're progressing and all that. And everybody signed to it. Commissioners were there, GMs were there, were represented, and then we launched the plan at Aso Rock, and all the government representatives said we're going back to our state to push this. After that, so many things have happened. There have been some intervention funds from World Bank, from USAID, from other development partners, and then the state governments have the intervention in those state governments. But are we really getting, traction that we should get as a sector expert? I don't think so. Yes, I know the stage is set in some places, but we also want to make sure that this time around we get it right. The pace is slow. Some are not even responding at all, So much is on ground for people to run with. But then implementation, sustaining the system, there's been challenges.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Adedayo. But before we let you go, I have this very important question to ask you, because during this conversation with you, we have actually beamed our spotlight on the government policies and things like that. But I want us to focus on the people, on the populace. And I want you to speak to open defecation. I want you to speak to sanitation and hygiene. What are the responsibilities of the people in ensuring a very high standard, of sewage management, hygiene, and sanitation?
Yeah. The time when you see practices, you are also appalled. You go to some neighborhood, people defecate beside where they prepare their food. I think it's a big problem. And probably it's a function of education, it's a function of exposure. And also, of course, it's also a function of breakdown of the entire system. Where are clean public toilets? Where is compliance? Where is water to keep toilets clean? I usually say no toilet is probably safer than dirty toilets. So, but even in the center of it is the fact that the people too are comfortable, living such life. So education-wise, and a mass of our population are on the streets. So you can't also separate it from the economic situation of the country, where you have a mass of people on the street, a mass of people living in shanties, a mass of people just coming into a city and then finding a place under the bridge in so many places. Where will they defecate? So these are all the things that now transcend beyond the wash sector in itself. Because you're looking at a park or a marketplace that has about 100,000 people milling around that place, almost 24/7. And then they have just about 8 or 9 toilet units. How will they cope? So compounding the problem is the lack of public water supply, compounding the problem of lack of clean toilets in public facilities and all that, But then even our living style, even the situation of the country, the economic situation, and then the level of education and exposure of our people,
Thank you
so
very
for
much.
me, I think we need to address it from that behavioral angle.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mark Adeyemi Adedayo. We wish we had more time, we would have discussed this, but of course we'll be getting back to you to give us more insights and more discussions on this topic. Thank you very much for your input.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We'll be going to something else. Of course, New Day is always packed full of interviews, of enlightened interviews to keep you informed about what is happening in and around the country and things that you need to know, things that you need to do. Don't forget to go to all of our social media platforms. Go like, share, comment. We want to hear what you have to say. We'll go on a very short break. When we come back, we have an interview for you. Stay tuned.
Since 1960, when we got independence, under the leadership of Zik and Awolowo, Sardauna of Sokoto, Tafawa Balewa, things were in order. I was a very young person that time. Independence was something that we celebrated in a very big way during that time. After some years, we went to the military regime. Are you getting the point? Yes. There things begin to wobble from one year to another, the rest of it all. Since then, I don't think there is any improvement. Yes, there is no improvement. Yeah, we enjoy. At least after 10 years of independence, or if not 20 years, since then, nothing has changed. Nothing. We have not even. In fact, we are not be able to say we are now Nigerians that got independence, 1st of October, 1960. Nothing to show for it. Nothing practically to show for it. Hunger, poverty, sickness. Hospitals, no drugs. Talk about electricity, that one is 0/100. Are you getting the point? Potable water to drink is out of the game. Look at the oil subsidy that they removed. See where he plunged Nigerians into. No food, nothing. You hold 10,000 naira, you only buy have penta or gari. Where are we? We say that we are the giant of Africa. Where is the giant of Africa? Where we don't have anything to show for it. Our economy in Shabo is finished, it's dried.
For me, I'm not feeling anything for the celebration because Nigeria is really, really messed up as it stands now. There is nothing good in Nigeria, especially in the leadership system. Everything is falling. Look at the fuel price and the commodities in the market. It's very expensive. Celebrating, what's there to celebrate Nigeria independence when the poor masses can barely afford or to meet up their ends living? So for me, the 64th independence Nigeria is celebrating is nothing to write home about. I'm not feeling excited because the country is already messed up already.
Nobody is enjoying the country anymore. The politicians, they are not after the poor masses. They are just enjoying doing their thing, only them alone. Even us boys now, we don't have work, no work in the streets. How will you? I don't have much to tell you about Nigeria anymore because I'm tired of Nigeria to be a Nigerian self.
We have a lot of issues about the economy in the country, and I don't see it befitting, to celebrate Independence Day. Because they're talking about the light issue. I think that they promised to exist at 24 hours light, but definitely we are not seeing it at all. Okay, like in my era right now, we don't have light. So we kind of we plead, so that they will kind of treat the masses well, and we should have good government in this country. Because apart, like what I've seen in the past years until now, we have been suffering a lot,
All right, we're continuing this conversation with the Joint Health Sector Union. Johetu issuing an ultimatum, 15-day ultimatum to the government to address lingering issues concerning our members or risk another round of strike actions from the health sector. Well, we have in the studio to discuss this further Comrade Chukwemeka Edwin Ohekwiro. He is the immediate past Public Relations Officer, Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals. Good morning, Comrade.
Good morning.
Thank you for making our time to join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So you, we'll take it that it's coming from the horse's mouth because you are a comrade in the union. Tell us what exactly is going on. Why the ultimatum? Why now? What is really going on, with Johesu?
Thank you very much. Johesu is a conglomerate of unions in the health sector. 4 unions made up Johesu: the Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals, the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, the Senior Staff Association, and NASU. They are the people that make up Joint Health Sector Union in the health sector. So we have lingering issues. Some of them are decades now. For instance, the issue of CONHES adjustment. In the health sector, there are 2 salary structures that exist. And the person that instituted those 2 salary structures was the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. So there was a collective bargaining agreement when those 2 health salary structures were created. The CONHES, which takes care of the healthcare workers, and the CONMES, that takes care of the medical workers.
What could you explain further? What do you mean by healthcare workers and medical workers?
CONMES is consolidated medical salary structure. That is for doctors. Then CONHES, consolidated health salary structures for other health workers in the system. So in the collective bargaining agreement of 2009, those 2 salary structures were like Siamese twins. And it was agreed that any adjustment on one will bring consequent adjustment on the other for there to be palpable peace in the health sector. You understand? But by 2014, the then President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, on 2nd of January, adjusted CONMES without consequence adjustment on CONHES. So those lingering issues started since 2014, the agitation, for there to be a consequent adjustment on CONHES. And CONMES has been adjusted since that 2014 for more than 3 or 4 times, with nothing done on CONHES salary structure. So it has been a lingering issue. He has had so many presidents that have come to discuss the issue and did not solve the problem. But the current government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, inherited a strike. We started a strike about May 17th, 2023, and by 6th or 5th of June, 2023, our leaders met him personally in Aso Rock, and we discussed a whole lot of issues with him, and he promised that he will bring an end to it and requested that we'll call off the strike and give him room to see that he does the needful. June 2015 till now is more than a year, and nothing has been done, even with the presidential assurances that he will put an end to this. And this has been a serious issue in the health sector, because yes, is a calling to help those that are sick, but it is difficult to perform those callings with empty stomach. The hardship in the health sector now is unimaginable. People hardly keep their families, people hardly maintain their families. Of course, the evidence is the exodus of health workers out of this country to places where they can afford better life. I can tell you comfortably, the kind of poverty amongst our members now, we have never seen before. People can no longer even take their kids to school. So we have demanded from federal government, we have met so many agreements, bargainings, and the rest of them. What we are now is at the implementation level. Discussions have been ongoing. We have met with so many committees. What we are now is at the implementation level. And we have watched government. They do not exercise the willpower to do this peacefully. And that is why we have issued 15 days ultimatum.
No, you've issued 15 days. How many days is left now?
It started counting on the 10th of October. Today is 12th. So they have 13 more days to do the needful. So otherwise we'll shut down services.
So what is shut down actually?
Shut down services to shut down health services in all the federal health institutions for 7 days. total shutdown, after which, if nothing is done, then it will be escalated to indefinite strike action.
All right, comrade, you mentioned something very striking. You said during the administration of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan that the CONMES salary structure has been amended 3 times over without a corresponding amendment, on CONHES, right? What would you attribute the reason to that, increment without a commensurate increment on the other, salary structure? Would you say that it is political, or would you say it's just out of the president's goodwill to favor a particular, group of health professionals over and against the others?
I don't want to accuse any president, but it is sheer insensitivity on the plights of Nigerians. I've said it time out of count, that because our leaders do not patronize the health we provide in Nigeria, they are very insensitive to the plight of health workers who provide the services they do not patronize. So we only provide services for the common man. Every president goes to United Kingdom or France to go and take health care. Likewise, their ministers, the senators, and the rest of them. So they do not feel the pains of the people. So we are even using this opportunity to appeal to the public, to mount pressure on the government to do the needful, because they are the people that will suffer the brunt.
If they are insensitive as a government, what will make the unions think that they will respond to this?
Of course, they will respond. That is why.
Because they don't patronize